Hi there ladies and gentlemen, this is Eastwood for Life Fan, and this is a video of my October 2018 DVD, Blu-ray and 4K pickups. And a little bit late in putting this update up, but I've been kind of busy. But I hope all you guys had a great October and that you enjoyed Halloween, and also that you guys checked out the new Halloween movie itself, which I thought was a very good Halloween movie and definitely one of the better Halloween movies in recent times. So guys, if you've checked that movie out, let us know on your thoughts on that movie and how it compares to the other movies in the franchise. And I did pick up a few horror titles in October, and I'll be the first to admit, not the biggest horror movie fan, but I kind of looked at my collection and thought what classic horror movies were missing from the collection, and I also picked up a few horror blind buys. But anyway, on to the update, and the only DVD that I picked up, this one's a mid-60s spaghetti western starring Richard Harrison, $100,000 for Ringo. And this one is not connected to the popular Giuliano Gemma Ringo movies. And this one's fairly obscure movie and difficult to pick up, as to my knowledge this is the only English release of this English audio release of this movie, and it's a German release. But for a mid-60s spaghetti western, this one actually was a box office hit in Italy with the other Ringo movies and the first dollar movies with Clint Eastwood. $100,000 for Ringo. Another western that I picked up, and wanted to pick up the steelbook version of this classic American western, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. One of the great ones, starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford. And this is the steelbook that was released by Zavvi a few years ago, which you can pick up fairly cheap on their site. Did have the normal MRA, but a nice but simple looking steelbook artwork cover of a classic scene where they're jumping off the cliff. Definitely one of my favourite American westerns in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. A TV series that I've been meaning to check out, and this is Narcos. This is the Netflix hit series based on true events of the drug dealer Pablo Escobar. And this is basically about the cocaine trade. And I think they're up to season 4, which is about to get dropped. I do know that the first 3 seasons I can pick up on Blu-ray, but I heard great reviews about this one. I have checked out the trailer, and it looks like my kind of series. And once I've caught up with The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, I definitely will be checking out Narcos. On to some horror titles, and a set that was missing from the collection, and that's the Exorcist movies. And this is the complete anthology set, and it has the first 3 movies. First one is definitely a classic, directed by William Friedkin, about a young girl played by Linda Blair who gets possessed, and still one of the most scariest movies ever made, the original Exorcist movie. The sequel I remember not enjoying that much, directed by John Boorman, and actually quite a few people say it's one of the worst sequels ever made. But the third one, starring George C. Scott, was a much better movie in the franchise. And this set also has 2 prequel movies which I have never seen. But a nice set, and you can pick this one up for a fairly good price in the complete anthology set of the Exorcist movies. A blind buy, this one, Black Christmas, and this is the original, a Canadian slasher movie from the 70s. And this is the UK release put out by 101 Films. And this is a festive slasher movie, which I most probably will be checking this one out next month. And I do know that they did make a remake of this movie. And in this movie, Margaret Kidder, who played Lois Lane in the Superman movies, is in this movie, as well as John Saxon. But one of the great slasher movies from the 70s in Black Christmas. This next one is Eyeball, and this is the collector's set put out by 88 Films, and this set got sold out very, very quick. And this is Eyeball, a movie directed by Umberto Lenzi, who kind of made his name in the Eurocrime movies in the 70s. But this is an Italian giallo movie. Did see this one in October, and not as good as some of the Dario Argento giallo movies, but a nice set put out by 88 Films. This is the slipcover. That's the Italian cover, starring John Richardson. DVD and Blu-ray set, and some postcards in of the movie, and a nice booklet. And basically, this movie is about a busload of tourists that arrive in Barcelona, and among these tourist holiday makers, there is a serial killer on a killing spree who takes out their victims by taking their eyeball out. But it was an okay giallo movie, but not as good as some of the Dario Argento movies out there. But a great set put out by 88 Films. Next movie is still in the mid-70s. This one is The Fury, a movie by Brian De Palma, starring John Cassavetes and Kirk Douglas. And this is a movie back in the VHS days I always wanted to check out, but never did. And Kirk Douglas plays a father who has his son kidnapped, as he has psychic powers. And his son gets kidnapped by a secret organisation who wants to use his psychic powers as a weapon. But this is the Arrow release of The Fury. They changed the cover, but the cover was fairly basic. That's the cover on this Arrow release, and this comes with the usual booklet by Arrow Video. And Kirk Douglas, great actor and still going strong. I think he's aged 101 years old. And you can't kill, and Spartacus never dies. But this is a Kirk Douglas movie that I've never watched and looking forward to checking out, as I do like Brian De Palma movies. Definitely this movie is my all-time favourite werewolf movie, and I couldn't believe that this was missing from my collection. 80s werewolf classic movie directed by John Landis, and great effects and makeup in this movie, as he actually went on to make the Michael Jackson Thriller video on the back of this. Great werewolf movie of two American tourists who come over to the UK on a walk-in tour holiday, where they get attacked by a werewolf across the moors, played by David Norton and Griffin Dunne. But definitely one of the great werewolf movies that shouldn't be missing from anyone's collection in American Werewolf in London. And actually another werewolf movie from the 80s. This one is the umbrella release of Silver Bullet, based on the Stephen King novel, starring Corey Haim and Gary Busey. And it's been a while since I've seen this movie. I have seen this movie back in the VHS days, but a nice umbrella release of this movie, of another werewolf movie in Silver Bullet. Another horror movie. This is The Entity, early 80s, starring Barbara Hershey, and based on a true story actually, where she plays a mother that gets attacked and raped. And I have seen this one back in the VHS days, and this was quite a shocking movie, as I remember back in the 80s, hiring this out on video. And this is the Eureka Films release of this movie, The Entity, and it's a young Barbara Hershey in this movie. And still on movies from the 80s, the classic John Carpenter movie of The Fog, and this is the Studio Canal collector's set that comes in 4 discs, 4K cut of the movie, a Blu-ray cut of the movie, an audio CD, and a Blu-ray of features. Beautiful set, nice and thick set, this one, put out by Studio Canal. A great John Carpenter movie of a small coastal town that has a dark secret, which a few residents begin to discover as they celebrate their centenary year of the small coastal town. This one also stars Jamie Lee Curtis. Great movie, and I will be doing an unboxing of these Studio Canal collector's set, because there is a lot of content in these Studio Canal sets. And another Studio Canal set that I picked up, another John Carpenter movie, and this is They Live, starring WWE wrestler or WWF wrestler Roddy Piper. Another collector set, comes with 4 discs, postcards, poster and booklet. And I will be doing an unboxing of these Studio Canal sets as soon as I pick up the Escape from New York set, which is going to be released the end of November. So I will be doing an unboxing on 3 of those Studio Canal collector's sets. A horror remake. That's actually better than the original in my opinion, and that's Night of the Living Dead, directed by Tom Savini. And that's not saying that I dislike the original by George A. Romero. I just found this one to be a bit more of a gory and more modern, updated zombie movie, as the original Romero classic in the 60s was kind of a little bit slow and outdated. But enjoy this one, starring Tony Todd, who a few years later went to star in the slasher movie Candyman. But one of my favourite zombie movies in Night of the Living Dead. And speaking of Tony Todd, I have the Arrow collector's release of Candyman, early 90s slasher movie. Beautiful set put out by Arrow with loads of features. These collector sets are probably one of my favourite sort of releases out there. And we'll do a quick little unboxing of this or show. Candyman. This comes with the booklet. There's the booklet, and the booklet's actually a artwork, kind of comic book of various scenes in the movie of Candyman. And you get the poster, which comes with the original poster. And then you also get the new Arrow commissioned artwork. You have a poster of that. It comes in with DVD and Blu-ray and these postcards. Dare you say his name 5 times in front of the mirror. That's how I always remembered that scene. Candyman. Another beautiful set by Arrow. They always please their collectors. But definitely a set worth picking up, as I don't normally mind in paying the little bit extra for the extra content. But great release by Arrow of a slasher classic from the 90s. Onto some modern day horror and Hatchet. Haven't seen any of the Hatchet movies, and I do know there is a few sequels out there. They have made a part 2, part 3, and Victor Crowley. And I did check out the trailer of this, and definitely want to check these movies out, as I am guilty of not watching enough of the modern day horror movies. Hatchet, old school American horror. Also picked up Happy Death Day, and this is kind of like a groundhog horror movie. I've seen the trailer of this, and this looks pretty cool. And actually, when I went to watch the new Halloween movie, they were actually advertising the sequel of Happy Death Day. So we'll have to watch this one and maybe check out the sequel at my local cinema. And the last title I picked up is this British horror movie, Ghost Stories, based on a award-winning stage play. And this is directed and starring Andy Nyman, where he actually plays a professor who investigates 3 cases of paranormal events among these victims. And it's kind of like an anthology movie of 3 separate cases where he goes to check out the victims, where it kind of blends into one sort of overall story. But best horror for years, and actually I have watched this, and very, very good horror movie, very creepy, keeps you on edge, definitely worth checking out. And this is a nice little set. You do get like a booklet in this movie, and there is the digital code. There is the booklet and the poster. Definitely a movie I recommend, Ghost Stories. And actually I will leave the trailer of Ghost Stories down below for you guys to check out. But definitely a movie I would recommend, Ghost Stories. The brain sees what it wants to see. Be careful what you believe in. A highly recommended horror movie that will keep you on the edge of your seats. So that is all the titles that I picked up in the month of October. So guys, sorry for the late update, and I hope you're all healthy and well. So until the new update, stay healthy, and as always, movie fans, always keep on collecting.